End of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, it's time for the annual awards roast. Folks, I'm super excited. Season 4, the end of the day with Ray, has come to an end. Season 5 starts on Monday. Always end out the season with an awards roast. I have to do a couple of disclaimers. Folks, during these awards roast, I like to use acronyms. You know, these acronyms, I spell out a word or a name, and it kind of helps people understand the mythology of how the award was won. And some of these awards I'm actually still nominating for, so I'll share that with you as we go through today's episode. But if you see a name you recognize of a company or a person, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm talking about that company or that person. Just want to throw that disclaimer out there. The other thing I want to say is this. If you win one of these awards, it's really a satire and there really is no real award. So don't, send me emails and call me up expecting me to mail you some elaborate, award that I'm showing here on the end of the day with Ray. I mean, I'm thinking of my friends over at the MPSA, the Managed Print Association. They love awards. And if they were to win an award here today, and there's a real likelihood they probably will, they're going to want the award. And I just want to tell you right now, there is no real award. It's a satire, okay? I mean, the goal is really not to win the award for those that don't quite understand that. But anyway, let's just jump right into it. I'm going to get on the Sharp Interactive board. I got my magic pen in my hand. Let's put together some acronyms. Let's give out some awards. Because, folks, it's always exciting. It's always exciting to share the good news of an award. So here we go. The first award I want to give out, folks, this is based on the times we're in. Supply chain crisis issues. We got supply chain crisis out there. And I'm trying to think to myself, what was the craziest damn thing that somebody did during the supply chain crisis? And you can see the guy in the dumpster pulling the toner out, and you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, he's got to be ready to be talking about Konica. Well, let's just jump in real quick and do the acronym. So I got to get my Sharp board working here, folks. And today I got to turn the Sharp board on, turn the Sharp board off. So, just stick with me as I do this. But here we go, folks. Here's the acronym. Konica Management becomes satire. KMBS is the easy way to remember this. Konica Management becomes satire because basically they told their dealers to, I don't know if they said go out in the trash, but they said, hey, take a bottle that's empty from this model and then dump this model's toner in that bottle, and then you could put it in the other machine because we're out of that toner. And I just thought, well, if they have empty bottles, the empty bottles are probably going to be in the dumpster. So therefore, I put this little picture together to kind of share with you what that might look like. You can see this person got toner all over their face. It's a messy process. Anyway, we're hoping that OEMs don't do these kind of things. We don't want people having to, dump toner from one bottle to the other. This was the craziest supply chain thing, so it does deserve an award. Konica Minolta did win it. I call it the Konica Minolta Supply Chain Insanity Suggested Award. Okay? Insanity Suggestions Award. So anyway, congratulations, Konica, on that award. So let's just go ahead. We got to cross this off. We got to jump right into the next award, folks. There's a lot of these awards coming out here today. This isn't really an award, it's an observation, and I just wanted to throw this out there to the Rogaine company, the Rogaine company that, helps people with hair loss. And I was looking at this picture and I'm thinking to myself, man, if the Rogaine company saw that picture, they would probably be like, hey, wait a second, we want to be a sponsor of some of these meetings that they're having over there in the Imaging Channel. This happens to be a BTA meeting. By the way, I was at that BTA meeting just a few days ago, last week. A lot of fun, met a lot of great new people, got to meet some old people. And when I say old people, I mean old people, folks. You got to understand, our industry, we're getting up there in age, right? Me too, I'm included. But anyway, I'm just thinking, Rogaine, if you see today's episode and you want to reach out to me, maybe we can work something out. But if this is the award that Rogaine could kind of give away, if they become a sponsor. Old way, never rock the boat when you're too old to swim. Because a lot of times organizations, and I'm not picking on the BTA, I mean, it could be all the organizations in our industry. They get full with a lot of old people. A lot of old people, they don't want to rock the boat because they're too old to swim. Just something to think about. But anyway, I thought I'd throw that in there. So ladies and gentlemen, this award needs no acronym at all. It is to our good friends over at the MPSA because IT services do not care to deliver print. Remember when the CompT Association threw away their managed print services certification in the trash? MPSA ran out there. I don't know if the MPSA has a real dump garbage truck, but it seems they're picking up a lot of IT trash trying to reinvent it around print because the IT folks don't give a crap about print. MPSA's thinking, oh, no, we care about print. Give us your trash, we'll reinvent it for us. Anyway, I figured I'd put this trophy together, and I learned something from the MPSA dumpster diving. And what I learned was there's a lot of BLI trophies in the dumpster too. I mean, these people get these things, they throw them in the trash. I mean, we all know that. I mean, just throw it on the website, throw it in the trash. Anyway, sometimes you find these things in the trash, and I've been able to recycle some of these. If you look, it looks a lot like a BLI trophy, right? It's just I put my own stuff on it. But I got to admit, this is a pretty fancy looking trophy. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I know our friends over at the MPSA, they love these awards. And because this one is so damn, I mean, it's really good looking, color coordinated. I got the garbage cans down here. I mean, I'm not too sure they're not going to want this award. So I'll tell you what, MPSA, if you want this to put on your website, I'll make an exception for you and go ahead and let you have it. Let's jump along here, folks. Best Executive Escape from Disaster Award. I'm looking for some nominations on this. Best Executive Escape from Disaster. We do have an acronym, so let me get the Sharp Interactive board working here. Remember when I said in the beginning of the video, sometimes these acronyms will spell a name or a company. You all jump to conclusions. Don't jump to conclusions. It's just an acronym. But here's what happens. An executive realizing incompetence cancels keenness. I mean, you got some really smart executives out there. They're keen. They know what the future looks like. They're trying to drag this corporation to the future. A lot of times, there's a lot of incompetence inside the corporation. Let's be honest. Not everybody's really, really smart, right? And so after realizing incompetence cancels their keenness, they jump ship, they leave. And I do call this the Rick Award. It's not my fault. Good luck. And I'm looking for some nominations for the Rick Award. I mean, it's a nice looking trophy. It's not my fault. Good luck. If you all know anybody, reach out, send me an email, because we could go ahead and do an update on all the nominations and go ahead and award those recipients the appropriate reward. So let's just jump right to it, folks. We got a lot of awards to give out today. So the next award, Cake Without Frosting Award. This kind of has a long acronym, so I want to jump right on that. But folks, a lot of times in the industry, whether it's the document imaging channel, where print's obviously falling off a cliff, and you're trying to get some input, you got organizations out there coming together, and a lot of times you end up with a cake with no frosting, as I call it. A lot of people call it that. But anyway, let's go ahead and do this acronym so we can kind of help us define what this might really look like. So basically, it's cockamamie optimism never solves organizations' real threats. Incompetency ultimately measures. So if we spell that out, consortium, consortium, that's a good acronym, right? Cockamamie optimism never solves organizations' real threats. Incompetency ultimately measures. Eventually you have to measure, right? And that's when you could determine that it's a cake with no frosting. So this is an award that, we could give to some people, right? We got to recognize them. So if you all know of anybody that has cockamamie optimism never solves organizations' real threats, incompetency ultimately measures, end up with a cake with no frosting, reach out to me. It's kind of a nice award. By the way, this award, like BLI does the multiple year awards. Well, this type of award couldn't be for multiple years because it'll probably end this year. So it'll be like for 2021 and 2022. So remember, the acronyms consortium, those are the words that go with the letters. It's kind of a complicated award, but I'm sure if you use your imagination, you could figure out who could win that. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to the next award, folks. We got a lot of awards to get through here. So, fastest growing segment is not momentum when other segments are diving or falling off a cliff. I heard somebody recently speak, and they mentioned that e-commerce is our fastest growing segment. And I'm thinking, what do you mean by that? Because your other segments are falling off a cliff for this particular person. So I wanted to put together this special award, and I call it Danger Untested Software Comfort, Discomfort, Delusion, or the CDD Award. Comfort, discomfort, delusion. People sometimes, they see something out there and they think, oh, we ought to do that. It's just, you know, they have a comfort with it, then they get discomfort with it, then they realize they're in a total delusion. But there is an acronym that goes with that, so let's just jump in there, folks, and here it is. Oh, I got to get my magic board working here. Let me slide this up. Hang on a second, folks. You know, sometimes when you do these multiple slide presentation, it gets a little bit complicated. You know, I lose my mojo now and then, but let's jump right into it. Knowing everyone yearns, that's an important word. Knowing everyone yearns, people occasionally invent naive technology. Think about this. Knowing everyone yearns. So you know everybody's yearning something. Today, we all know that if you're in business, you're yearning e-commerce, okay? So knowing everybody yearns, people occasionally invent naive technology. And the easy way to remember all this is just spell it out. It spells key point. Key point, that's easy to remember. You know, key point. Knowing everyone yearns, people occasionally invent naive technology. And folks, this is a reality. You know, you can't build an e-commerce platform based on just printers and toner bottles and maybe an encyclopedia, right? Nobody cares about all that stuff. They want all the other stuff that technology is. They want to be able to buy the whole big giant catalog. Anyway, just some things to think about. And this award, by the way, this award, there's a couple of contenders for it. So again, I'll reach out to the audience and ask you to make your final nominations on who do you believe should win this award. But an easy way to remember it is key point. And then, of course, those words that go with the letters. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's just jump right to the next award because, boy, we got some awards to give away today. The Forza Award. Now, we know last year we came up with this, you know, people trying to replace the e-Automator, the most used ERP platform in the entire document imaging channel. And there's been occasional attempts to replace that. And I call it the Forza Award because basically what happens is people try to replace it and they found out replacement at zero value and they end up going back to the original, right? I mean, so it's easy to remember the Forza Award. So basically I put together this trophy because I want everybody to pay attention to this. ERP, all-in-one software, is a fantasy and it's untested. Okay, there's no ERP that someone's going to invent to come into the document imaging channel and do everything. It's called the ability to interconnect with other softwares. That's where the world is. The world's complicated. Deliverables are complicated. The print channel's not going to come up with one ERP to do everything. And people tell you that, you ought to run. That's why I want to put together this award. Now, there has to be a way to remember this type of thing going on inside the document imaging channel. So, yes, I do have another acronym, so let's get the board working here. And, folks, you know, these acronyms, I hope they help you because a lot of this stuff's kind of complicated. Helps you kind of remember it. So, here we go. Technology incapable of getting existing technology replaced, proving a big waste. Technology incapable getting existing technology replaced, proving a big waste. We don't want to be wasting time. You know, look at this technology. Is it really going to be able to help you do everything you need it to do? Is it really going to replace something that's well proven and tested out? Easy way to remember all this. I got the acronym here. Look, what about, you know, this is kind of an interesting acronym. Tiger Paw. Tiger Paw is an easy way to remember that. Tiger P. This is supposed to be an R, folks. Tiger Paw. Anyway, folks, like I said, you know, putting all these acronyms together sometimes a little bit tough, but it does help you remember these things. So let's go to the next award. Folks, I'm telling you, these awards, I don't know. So how many people are sitting down there thinking they won one of these already? You know, are you getting excited? Are you going to try to make some changes? I mean, what are you doing with these things? Anyway, OEM losing money but winning awards. Folks, you know, when an OEM's out there winning all kinds of awards, but at the same time they're losing all kinds of money, there should be an award for that. I mean, that's quite a remarkable thing, right? And so how are you going to identify these companies, right? And this is something we got to ask ourselves. So let me get the Sharp Interactive board working here because we got to figure out how to identify companies that are losing money but winning awards. And here's the way we do it. Knowing, folks, let me slide this up again. Did my board not activate? I might have to get me a refresh on the Sharp Interactive board. Maybe there's a software update I need to put in there. So anyway, here we go, folks. Knowing opportunities never insulate competent abilities. Knowing opportunities never insulates competent abilities. Konica. Easy way to remember that. Konica. You know, folks, here's the reality. What OEM gets a lot of awards and what OEM is losing lots of money? I did a video not too long ago on Konica's financials. They were, what, 2 years in a row? Over the last 2 years, they've lost like $300 million. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and give them this award. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, Konica deserves it, right? Losing money consistently for 2021 and 2021 fiscal year. We'll see how they end up this year. But folks, you know, that's not a good thing. But they're still winning awards, so there should be an award just for that. After all, this is a satire award show, right? Come on, folks. All right, so now let's go to the next award. Next award, what do we got here? Our investment's heading south. I mean, we got private equity into space. We have to have an award for private equity, right? It is an annual awards roast for the Document Imaging Channel. The Document Imaging Channel has private equity in it. I call it the Hope Strategy Private Equity. Down here in the middle of the award, I got WTF happened, some question marks. They're like, oh, what? I thought you all were going to be able to deliver IT services. I thought you were going to be able to diversify and put all kinds of things in these thousands of customers you have out there. Instead, we just bought a whole bunch of declining print that continues to fall off a cliff. Our investments are falling off a cliff. This is a terrible, terrible situation. And folks, that could be what they're thinking, right? Anyway, I got an acronym for this, so let's go ahead and get it spelled out here. Because sometimes these venture capitalists, they might not really understand the position they're in. And they don't even have to be private equity. I mean, these folks could be bank funded anyway, just a bunch of people putting money together to help, you know, propel a fantasy. So anyway, here we go. Ventures erupting tragically. The VET Award. Ventures erupting tragically. And then I just went ahead and added this. Impossible transition. Trying to get these folks to get into IT as an example. So easy way to remember this is VET IT. VET IT. That's kind of interesting. So folks, anyway, this award's kind of up for nominations too. Haven't quite decided who should win this yet. There's a bunch of private equity out there. A bunch of deals put together with big money, trying to figure out when this big diversification is going to happen so they could realize more revenue coming out of those accounts other than declining revenue of print. So these folks in the private equity world, they're probably not real excited about winning this award. But then again, what can they do to prevent them from getting it is the question. So anyway, let's go ahead and go to the next award, folks. So we're wrapping it up. We're almost done, folks. Stick with us. This is a good award. I got to get the Sharp board working for this one. So anyway, folks, we've all heard about the electrical vehicle charging stations. Diversifications. Diversification for print are your tech's union is kind of what I put as the headline of this. Because we're thinking about these electrical vehicle charging stations, and I'm thinking to myself, well, that's fantastic. The electrical workers unions are getting all excited. Man, we're going to have some $500 million copier companies selling electrical vehicle charging stations in the marketplace. Are those technicians in the electrical workers union? They're going to be knocking on those owners' door. You got to join the union. You got to join the union. I'm sure that's okay with a lot of our dealer owners. They probably want to be in a union. I mean, who doesn't want to have a union, right? But then I'm thinking to myself, you know, what qualifies our technicians to be electrical, you know, contractors putting in electrical vehicle charge stations? Well, folks, I didn't have to look very far. The electrographic process for toner, it's got the word electric in it, right? We're putting the toner, you know, on the developer that's on the drum. That's all kind of through an electrical transfer, and then it goes on to the paper. I mean, our techs, they got some electrical savvy in them, right? They got some skill sets there. So maybe that's where this comes together. I do have an acronym, so let's just go ahead and put that together. Another crazy distraction implemented. Another crazy distraction implemented. I call it the ACDI Award. But folks, here's the reality. I'll be really excited to talk more You know, I went to that BTA meeting and I talked to our friend Josh, you know, and Josh, actually this acronym, it is really the company. I'm really talking about ACDI, okay? So this one actually makes sense, right? So, but I was talking to Josh about this electrical vehicle charge station. I want to hear more. He had some interesting arguments. Of course, I still have my thoughts. So maybe I get Josh on the end of the day with Ray. We talk a little bit more about that. But for now, I'm definitely giving him the award. You know, now I don't know if the union folks are going to be asking Josh for his customer list, because they're probably going to want to get out there and talk to those dealers about joining the union really quick. But anyway, that could happen, could not happen. I can't wait to talk more to Josh about electrical vehicle charging station. But congratulations, ACDI, on a win. So let's go, folks. I think we got 2 more left. This one is near and dear to my heart. Managed IT Insanity Consulting Awards. Folks, we got people out there telling people in our industry the stupidest crap around IT I've ever heard in my life. I mean, there's one organization telling people they got 37% EBITDA. I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's a real train wreck. Have a 37% EBITDA, then when you have a disaster, you're not paying enough money, because that's why your EBITDA is so high. You probably got really poor skill sets in there, and you're probably going to have a disaster. Just, you know, common sense, right? Logical regarding IT. Anyway, I put a acronym together for this because we want to make sure that when we're out in the marketplace and we're listening to these folks teaching us about IT services, that they're actually basing it on realities in the current marketplace situations, not something they did 10 years ago. So anyway, without any further ado, I want to go ahead and get the shartboard working here, and let's put the acronym together. And this is a simple acronym, very simple acronym. I call it telling associations, because they like to go to the associations. Like you'll see them at maybe a BTA meeting, you'll see them at maybe even an OEM meeting. I mean, they're out there, they're talking to our industry. Telling associations garbage. Easy way to remember that is TAG, T-A-G, telling associations garbage. We want to make sure that if we're going to do IT services, we don't want to hear a bunch of bullshit, we want to hear reality. Okay? And folks, I've said this before, the problem with a lot of these consulting firms in our space is simple. Most of their customers are lifestyle, $2-3 million a year businesses. And they're trying to come into a marketplace where we have dealerships that are 50, 80, 90, 100 million, 200, 300, 400 million, 10 million, 8 million, 6 million. Big companies. Do you really want to listen to a consultant where most of their customers are lifestyle businesses doing $2 or $3 million a year? Just something to think about anyway. So ladies and gentlemen, we got one more award left. I don't even remember what it is myself, but let's pull it up. Oh, folks, we all know the amplified nonsense, right? Last year, HP was the worst OEM, the Amplifier Award. I gave it to them, right? They were the worst OEM agreement out there. I had an acronym for it, remember it? A massive program, largely incoherent, causing the dealer owner to say the F word. Well, they yearn for something better, right? There's that word yearn again. Anyway, it was Amplify, spelled out Amplify. HP won it hands down. Thanks for your data. I got a magnet where they're sucking the customers into them, all how that works. But here's something hysterical. Well, at the BTA, I heard someone say this. Very, very exciting to me when I heard this. They described, this is what they said. Amplify is like COVID and monkeypox combined. Amplify is like COVID and monkeypox combined. I put a picture of the COVID and the monkeypox. Could you imagine a monkeypox? I mean, this is disgusting, right? Really bad looking stuff. And so I'm thinking to myself, is HP going to win this award again? I mean, really, the worst OEM agreement out there? Hands down they are. We all know where this is going, right? Well, anyway, let me just get the board working so I can go ahead and spell out my last acronym, because, you know, HP deserves the win second year in a row. Worst OEM agreement out there. It's terrible, right? Having partners burglarizing accumulative data. Having partners burglarizing accumulative data. Kind of sums that up a little bit, I think, you know. Some people could question the word burglarize. Maybe they're not really burglarizing if the dealers are giving it to them. But anyway, it's HP BAD is the acronym. Let's try to remember that when we're starting to look for partners out there. Because who wants to be in a partnership with a combination of COVID and monkeypox? I don't know what that person was saying. That was not my words. Just something I heard. And on the end of the day with Ray, we like to, you know, share what we hear out there in the marketplace. But ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's it for the awards. I hope you enjoyed this episode, because the 5th season coming up, we're going to get exciting stuff coming on. More individuals we're going to interview. We're going to help the organizations that I love, those dealers that sell and service sport print equipment, go to the next level, get into IT services much deeper and better. Folks, everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all on Monday.